Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Surprise, surprise, Lithuania caved in. So you remember that Lithuania tried to show its little nuts and personal nuts and was too serious about the sanctions imposed by the European Union on Russia, and they thought that they can sanction Kaliningrad, the Russian enclave in Europe, and in Old Prussia, how they like to call it now. They don't call Danzig or Gdansk Old Prussia, no, but they use that as Old Prussia because we are crazy, we don't know what they're doing. So if you remember, Lithuania said that the European Union placed sanctions. So what we do, we just the European Union said, and we just don't allow certain kind of products to cross from Russia to Kaliningrad. But we find out that they were, go back in your little room over there and clean your room. So this comes from Reuters from July 13th, 2022. Lithuania will allow sanctioned Russian goods trade to Kaliningrad. So European Union member Lithuania will adhere to the EU executive's advice that sanctioned Russian goods can transit to the Kaliningrad enclave, its foreign ministry said on Wednesday. Can you imagine what that guy did? Probably went home and beat his wife and punished his kids and whatever, his dogs. Man, upset. The European Commission made the announcement earlier on Wednesday after weeks of tensions between Moscow, Lithuania and the European Union, which tested Europe's resolve to enforce sanctions on Russia. Now, it seems like these sanctions start to crumble in a certain way. Remember, even Canada changed its sanctions for Russia. These guys changed their sanctions, gave, how do you call it, a little bypass, a little backdoor opportunity to do something. Kaliningrad, which is bordered by EU states and relies on railway and roads through Lithuania for most goods, has been cut off from some freight transport from mainland Russia since June 17 under sanctions imposed by Brussels. Sources told Reuters in June that European officials backed by Germany were in talks about exempting the territory from sanctions, paving the way for a deal in early July if Lithuania drops its reservations. Lithuania was just flicked like that, so you drop your reservations. Yeah, zip it. Psst. All right, so the guidance published on Wednesday said EU trade sanctions should not apply to transport between Russia and its enclave so long as its volume do not exceed averages of the last 3 years, reflecting the real demand for essential goods at the destination. EU members were tasked with monitoring trade between Russia and Kaliningrad to check for sanctions circumvention, such as making sure there are no unusual flows of trade patterns. The transit of sanctioned military and dual-use goods and technology remains fully prohibited. More acceptable. Lithuanian Foreign Ministry said on Wednesday the previous trade rules, which blocked many sanctions cargoes from transport between mainland Russia and Kaliningrad, were more acceptable. I'm quoting, Kaliningrad transit rules may create an unjustified impression that the transatlantic community is softening its position and sanctions policy towards Russia, the statement said. Of course, the Kremlin said earlier on Wednesday it was expecting progress over a possible EU deal to allow Russia to transit some sanctioned goods to its Kaliningrad enclave, but the problem had not been resolved. Russian President Vladimir Putin and his Belarus counterpart Alexander Lukashenko, a close ally, on Monday discussed a possible response to Lithuania's actions during a phone call. So that is what triggered this guy to bend over and take it. Kaliningrad, a Baltic port and home to around 1 million people, was annexed by the Soviet Union from Germany after World War II. What about Danzig, annexed after the First World War by Poland from Germany? No? Okay, my bad. Right, after World War II and is connected to the rest of Russia only through EU territory, mainly rail via Belarus through Lithuania. Moscow says the ban on overland transit of some sanctioned goods amounted to an illegal blockade. Lithuania says it had no choice but to enforce sanctions imposed by Brussels that they voted for. So they hide behind Brussels, but they voted for those sanctions because the sanctions could not have been imposed by Brussels if Lithuania would not give its yay. Because it has to be unanimity in the European Union when they impose sanctions. All right, goods that fall within humanitarian or essential categories such as food were always exempted from the sanctions. Passenger traffic is not banned and Kaliningrad can still be reached by air or sea. So that's how you send weapons and everything else by sea. So again, this is I would say a number two, not a poop, but number two in a way that is just first one it was Canada, now is this guy. But if you want to go like be honest about it and look back, the first thing is this wishy-washy sanctions imposed by European Union on some things but not some things. Like, oh, we do it on oil but not the gas yet. We don't do it on coal yet, but we're gonna do it on coal. I mean, this pick and choose, it's really you're either or. I mean, sanctions or not. As I always said, if you're virtuous and you show your you show your virtues and your your things that you believe in, your how do you call them? It just escapes me right now. Your values, then you fight for them. You're ready to fight for them. I mean, not at the first little opposition you cry and you give up your your values. That's not a value. That's just a face, just face value. It's just a apparent value. So yeah, the minute they're gonna have to shower from 10 minutes to 5 minutes already, oh my God, let's get the gas back from the Russians. I'm talking about Germany. Remember, they're talking about not showering anymore, or shower only like Monday you shower your left leg, Tuesday you shower your right leg, and then Wednesday you shower the middle section, and then Thursday just the left arm, and so on. Yeah, even the communists had it better, it seems like. But nevertheless, it's good that those guys have what they need over there in Kaliningrad, and we go from there. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.